Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom, everybody. We're so happy to see you here. And as I come into this moment, this is the moment of, Shabbat. Shabbat means, oh, that person that honked at me when I'm driving, down a crowded highway. Remember highways? I don't. But, assuming you remember that, that person who's honking, actually, they were just waving so that you could go in front of them. Shabbat, Shabbat, a little bit of chesed in the air, a little bit of loving connection. Shabbat, it's that seeing something in the paper and you think it's got to be wrong because it's like actually good news about something good that somebody did for somebody, right? That's like a little tipat Shabbat, a tipat chalav, a little drop of milk that comes into our lives, a little something nourishing. So going into Shabbat, I always feel this sense of like the slowness is there to remind us not only do we have to not always go fast, but actually we're missing a lot actually when we speed by, when we speed by people, when we speed through emails, when we might speed through even interactions with our family. This week I had a little note on my computer and it said this. It said Dan lechaf zchut, which I think means that you should judge a person giving them the benefit of the doubt. Sharon Mars, you need to work on this a little bit, right? This is why I put it on my computer. And I actually turned to it a lot this week. And the time that I used it was when I was speeding, not down the highway. I was not texting and speeding, but when I was texting and I was in anybody else's presence, whether it was on a meeting or one of my kids or my spouse, or even while I was on the phone and nobody could see me, I had my phone. I like set it aside and I said, wait a minute, I gotta like actually turn my attention toward this person and give them a little loving connection and bring the benefit of the doubt came back to me as a sense of being conscious. Otherwise I was going to just speed by that interaction, giving the benefit that everybody has something here to offer. Holy moly, do we have something to offer each other? So tonight, I encourage us not to break a driving record, or speed by anything more, because that slowing down, that pumping the brakes on our life is absolutely essential. And even if it's to kind of slow down and notice, you know what? I'm driving by something that's uncomfortable. This is a part of my life that I'd rather rush past. Slowing by and taking a little friendly look at it, not the rubbernecking, like, oh my God, I can't take my eyes off of it because it's so horrible kind of thing. It's more like, let's slow down so that we can take in that which deserves our loving attention. And when we do that, maybe we'll slow down in those interactions with other people, giving them the benefit of the doubt, creating the connection that they deserve. And you know what? Tonight, it's all about us. It's all about us. Good for me, self. You slowed down enough to notice that you have a life. Get a life. You have it right here in front of you. It's right now, and this moment has never happened. So we dive into Shabbat, friends. Boy, am I happy that you're here. And I know I joined the Cantor and our staff in saying we're so delighted to make Shabbat with you another week. And I say another week towards spring. Not quite springtime in Ohio, friends, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Let's make the bracha and bring in some light, and gather in a little slowness, a little stillness, and make the bracha with our Cantor.
There is a beautiful song. Spring is coming, that's what it is. Spring is coming. And light is coming.
Oh, am I happy I gave you that entree, Cantor? Thank you very much.
Spring and light. I'll take it.
What we're about. So turning on your own candles, lighting your own candles at home, and welcoming in the light. Bring it on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Wish each other a little Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Wave to your friends. Shabbat Shalom. Was I not paying enough attention to you this week? Oh, I'm going to slow down and actually gaze into your eyes and see the beautiful soul that you bring with you on Shabbat. And let's basically thank Shabbat for being here, all her glory and majesty as we sing Lecha Dodi.
Yalla la 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 lecha dodi. Yalla la 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 nikrat kala. Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi. Yalla la 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 nikrat kala. Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat.
stood for the beautiful Shabbat bride, the Kala, we say. And what does that Kala signify? Just purity, purity of Shabbat, purity of rest. We rise together as one. You may be seated.
Brothers and sisters, sisters and brothers, we may read this every week. We switch it up every once in a while, but I really want us to grab the hand of a brother or a sister or a brother that we know who just want to travel with us after a long passage through a tough time of bondage, a time of uncertainty. We just walk. Let's go. Let's go through that hour of change and cross over into and through and stand on the other side of uncertainty together, hand in hand. So let's read. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand, uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריף ערבים.
And what can we learn when we cross into a new place? Torah, more Torah to be learned. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form?
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו והם נגי יומם ולילה ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Join with me as we read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching, and singing together. Join me as we sing Mi Chamocha. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
So it is that when we become distracted or racing by, and I want to share with you what's part of my own work, because I think it's important to remind ourselves that none of us is a complete, beautiful porcelain, vase, some kind of creation that was so perfectly sculpted it has no nicks in it, right? I'd rather be one of those really cool mosaics that's put together with like all the broken dishes. That's more what I am, like all the broken dishes, and then you make it into art, right? That's really where we are, and that's where I certainly find myself to be. Somehow pandemic gives you a lot more time to slow down, sometimes in uncomfortable ways. But I have something I'm learning for myself that I want to share with you tonight. We're at this portion of the of our Torah, Parshat Bo, and here we are coming to the end of the plagues. And one of the plagues that I think is, the final, one of the last plagues is choshech, is darkness. The plagues that befall the Egyptians as the Jewish people are still enslaved in Egypt. And there we are watching Moses go to Pharaoh over and over again and being declined. I will not let you go. You may not leave this land. And sure enough, we get to this point of darkness. And according to the Torah, it is so dark that lo ra'u ish et achiv. It was, how thick was this plague? How thick was this darkness? It was blinding, in the opposite way that, if you were to stare into the sun, right? This is the opposite. This is almost like a corrosive, bitter, descending thickness. And yet we also learn that this darkness that spread over the people lasted for 3 days, and no one could get up from where they were. However, it says, "U'lechol b'nei Yisrael haya or b'moshvotam." But all the Israelites enjoyed light in their dwellings. And there's a midrash that says, a little tale that says, what was this light about? And it was actually that as the light burned away from the Egyptians' view, it was the Jewish people who were being protected by God at this moment. Of course, we know that they're going to be freed any moment. But in the meantime, there's this bitter, bitter, descending deep darkness, worse than physical darkness or a sandstorm or a solar eclipse, which only lasts for a little bit. This was like much deeper and started descending even on one's spiritual and psychological darkness. It was like a deep depression came over. And it was the Jewish people, though, who knew light at the same time. And how did they, according to Bradley Shavit Artson, who's a rabbi in Los Angeles, he says, what do we make of this literal smothering absence of all light? He said, what makes the Israelites sources of illumination is precisely their willingness to enter the homes of their oppressors. They entered the home of their oppressors, and they basically did like Bikur Cholim. They visited them in their sickness, in their deep depression. What's happening? They went to the other person and spread love and spread light. Well, I don't know if it's love. Because love, as I mentioned at our social justice team meeting last night, love is very sweet. But if there's not justice attached to it, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi of blessed memory said that that love without justice is like whipped cream on garbage. I like that line so much, I repeated it tonight. Whipped cream on garbage. You can't just have love. You can't just have light. You have to go with some kind of intention for justice. There was a correction. There was a sort of noticing. I see you in your darkness. I'm going to lift you up somehow. I'm going to be with you. You've been my enemy, but here we go. Let's go together. And they spread their light. I just think that is such a gorgeous image. And I'm really carrying that with me because I want so much to get better at that spreading of, whatever kind of light and illumination can happen one for the next, because we need it so darn bad. And I want to give you like a little 3-point recipe, a recipe. We've all been spreading recipes, but this is a recipe that I think can help us do a little bit better illumination of each other's darknesses. And so it's 3 points that I use in my own practice of Musar, of studying character points in myself, soul traits that I'm really trying to work on. And some of you join me on Sunday mornings, and we have a great group of people. You're welcome to join. And what we study is, some kind of quality, patience or compassion or gratitude, or we just finished a whole bit on simcha, joy, versus atzvut, sadness, very appropriately. And so what's the 3-point recipe? That in ourselves, we have to find a little bit of light, or at least awareness, in every one of our interactions, especially those that are challenging to us. And I hope this is maybe resonating for you after whatever your week looked like. So just give yourself the benefit of the doubt, as we said at the beginning, that maybe there's something to learn, even if there was an uncomfortable interaction, And the first point that we have to do is called hitlamdut. The Mussar rabbis say that what we need is lilmod. We need to do some kind of discernment and study in non-judgmental curiosity of what's going on. Sharon, it feels like this is an uncomfortable interaction with somebody, or that you're getting defensive, but bring your non-judgmental curiosity, your hitlamdut, to this moment, that moment of awareness in whatever that interaction is, or even if you're just doing something innocuous, right? But you're starting to judge. So step away and don't judge. That's hitlamdut. That's number one. But number two is really critical. It's called bichira. It's a bichira point. Bichira, livchor, means to choose. In this moment, perhaps I can investigate what's going on here. Can I be not just non-judgmental, but can I investigate what my options are? What are my choices that I have in front of me right now? I could blow my top because there's dishes in the sink, or there's whatever, and that is an affront to me because I just spent an hour doing the dishes. Not that that's ever happened, of course, people, ever, and certainly not in my house. But, can I investigate, what's going on here? In other words, what are other people going through around me? That's my point of bechira. And this is where the magic happens, people. Number 3, teshuva. Teshuva, a word we know from the high holidays, because I say it, and the Cantor sings it, and we're saying it throughout the entire month of Elul and all the way through Sukkot. It's teshuva, coming back, returning to our intention to access our innate light, our innate goodness, that innate illumination we were born with. There was or before there was choshech. There was light. That light, and that coming back to it through teshuva, through saying, I'm going to turn now. I've become aware non-judgmentally and curious through hitlamdut. I've considered my options in front of me, and now I'm going to come back to my original goodness through teshuva. And I wonder if, I have my little note right here. Maybe your note this week to yourself is curiosity, choice, and return. Hitlamdut, bechira, and teshuva. And I will send you those by email if you need to remember them. Consider, friends, how our interactions with people would change. And even if we're not interacting with a lot of people, because a lot of us are feeling very alone these days, even if we're not, imagine how this is to be in a world where this kind of thoughtful approach is used. And can we share that and spread that? Can we be as illuminating as the Jewish people were to the Egyptians in their moment of pain, even though it seemed anathema, right? Because in darkness, you're fumbling through the dark. But if you're conscious of your life, if you're conscious of your options, if you're conscious and aware and open, there's always more choices. And I want to just give one last word, which is that we lost a great human being today, Hank Aaron, who's a baseball great. And I just remember growing up in LA and being, 1974, that's when he hit his billionth, home run. I mean, he broke the records. And here's a Black man who came from Alabama who just reset the whole baseball field, right? And he is, to me, representative of kind of going beyond one's fear. When we stand away from investigating what's there, we let things continue to go however they go. But we can be very intentional and very prescriptive if we take a little bit more time. And it does take a certain amount of curiosity and courage to change any kind of direction that life seems to be going in. So I hope that as we come into now our Hashkivenu, and then we're going to take our Amidah in a few moments, that we can call to mind all of this, that all of us, dear friends, can find within ourselves this capacity for growth, which is always there. And just know, how great it is that we can do this together in community, knowing that others are doing it as well. So what I want for you is just a Sukkat Shalom, under which and through, this community, we can find our own individual excellence and really, magnify and illuminate that light in the world. Oh, Cantor, can we sing now? We need a little Hashkivenu.
Yes, of course we can. If my... There we go. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu shamreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu shamreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu shamreinu l'chaim. V'sharu v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינבש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
You can remain seated where you are, or you can stand now for the Amidah, but bringing real awareness and attention to this moment, and maybe even setting an intention for what you want to get out of this moment of being with the community, and then going into a little bit of time of silent prayer and meditation. We begin.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid yilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot umidomenach, melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, kadosh.
Continuing in silent reflection and then concluding whenever you're done.
Yai lai 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 yai lai yai 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 lai 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 yai yai lai yai yai.
So many people in our lives need healing. Among them, the list that we're going to read now, and also the list that you provide by writing the names of people that you love who are in need of healing in the chat box for us to say Ar Misha Beirach in a moment. And I'll read our list now. Harav Tuvia Levi ben Yosef Tzvi HaKohen Uvatia, Yaakov Yitzchak ben David Verachav, Eliyahu ben Sarah, Harav Reuven Shlomo ben Mendel Valeya, Naomi bat Miriam veharav Yosef, Gittel bat Yehuda vechaya, Zissel Chana bat Yitzir Rivka, Leviat bat Rachel, Gavriela bat Nehemiah Udvora, Yirmiyahu ben Yosef verachel, Sandor ben Sarah, Norma Agranoff, Pat Cottle, Lee Kunkel, Jim Connolly, Lily Kovitz, Bree Craig, Marion Cuno, George Dickerson, Isabel Fazone, Larry Footer, Ellie Guinness, Nate Goldberg, Keisha Hutchins, Ethan Kadish, Ruth Kahn, Ray Carlsberger, Delma Killinger, Kyle Kayabler, Jake Meyer, William Nolan, Anthony Paneth, Clark Patton, Helene Piselnik, Jen Rockwell, Cassie Rush, Lisa Scher, Stacy Schulman, Ben G. Seltzer, Ben Simon, Larry Stempel, Jen Stevens, Jeff Swartz, Lee Tenenbaum, Annette Turner, John Wagner, Mary Lou Wagner, Sydney Young.
We sing together. El na rafana lanu. Join me. El na rafana lanu. And repeat after me. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days.
Cantor and I made a conscious decision this week. You know, our essential workers, it's almost, you know, trite to say how they save us every single day, but it is true. It is true. And so I want us to summon for yourself one person who does something for you all the time. And you've put that face, maybe not to a name, but you recognize them because they're always there. I'd like us to send a bracha to them now. We'd like to make this the priestly benediction for them. So imagine you're putting your hands on their kepi, you know? Imagine you're better friends than just, you know, the person who maybe bags your groceries, the person who has taken care of, you know, the recycling, the person who is there to answer the phone when you're not feeling well. I mean, all of these people do something for us. So imagine you're just putting your hands on theirs or on their shoulders, or just giving them a quiet bow and saying these words of our tradition to them.
Yivarecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. And we all say, Amen.
Please join me in a prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights of your Torah that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, and helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. And a prayer for the welfare of the state of Israel, this piece created, and this is an abbreviated version by Rabbi Sam Feinsmith. Master of compassion and forgiveness, cosmic majesty who is peace, teach us your ways. Show us the path that preserves life. Plant a steadfast reminder of our inherited mission in our hearts, to be a compassionate people descended from compassionate people, pursuers of peace and harmony, keepers of God's way to do charity and justice, despisers of revenge and begrudging, lovers of forgiveness and pardon, the ones who unremittingly declared that humans are precious, for they were created in your image. Blessed are you, God, Master of peace and reconciliation. And we say,
Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael ve'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, שבשמיים צור ישראל וגואלו.
Will you please stand for Aleinu?
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated, everyone. This week we are remembering the people in our congregation who have had recent losses, and also remembering the people who have died at this time in years past, and anyone who's died recently throughout this year. And I want to say before I read our Kaddish list that, of course, we are very, very conscious of reaching the milestone of 400,000 people who have died in the United States and millions throughout the world from COVID-19. And we are praying for an end to this illness. And we are praying for you, all of you who are holding somebody special in your heart tonight as we read our list of people. In the recent week, we are marking the passing of Marilyn Skilkin, the mother of Toby Gold and mother-in-law of Ken Gold. And we are in the period of Shloshim, remembering the following people: Jeannie Moser, Esther Greenwald, Jack J. Weiss, and Miriam Tootie Goodman, and Donald Rubin. If you're joining us during the 11-month period after having lost somebody you love, will you please rise and quietly say the name of the person for whom you are saying Kaddish in a moment. And tonight we remember Sydney Barnett, Sonia Bloom, Gus K. Bowman Jr., Michael Chandler, Betsy Lissman Cohen, Damaris Moore Crowfoot Swade, Alan Dickin, Jack Dratch, Adolph Frank, Rose Geckler, Riva G. Goshenauer, Ruth Golden, Mildred Goldman, Rose Jocelyn Goldsmith. We remember Leah Gottfried, Alan Gundersheimer, Louis J. Gutterman, Lillian Jackier Gutterman, Tessa Lieberman Hoffman, Mike Cassine, Sarah Kastner, Margaret Kennedy, Florence H. Cohn, Rose Korn, Donald Lehman, Arthur E. Loeb Sr., Ellie Lustig, Jack Meisel, Barbara Marie Mendel, Steve Michelson, Felice Merkin, Wayne Oney, Irving Posner, Merle Rapstein, Stanley B. Schwartz Sr., Stanley B. Schwartz Jr., Sylvia Shearer, Howard Chevron, Solomon D. Zeldin, and Kenneth Zmija. If there are any additional names that you would like us to know about, anyone that we may have missed, if you'll please write the name of your beloved in our chat box right now. We thank you. And I apologize if I mispronounced anyone's name. But now, friends, we stand together as a congregation and we say the sacred words of Kaddish Yatom together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'olma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulolmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'olma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayim v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Useh shalom b'mamav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshevei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are grieving. Zichronam livracha. May their memories continue to bless and inspire you always. And we say, amen. Please have a seat and know that you can join us this weekend if you need a little So go to our website and find a little with Jewish meditation and Musar. And you want to, by January 31st, get your brick, because with our new building, I'm so excited because I know what it looks like now. And it's actually got walls and a roof and beautiful carpeting. I can't wait for you to see it. But Heart and Soul is the name of our campaign. Write a brick out. You know, you've already got like 100 awesome other people doing it. And it's just a little something to make a mark, to remember somebody special or some great moment. Make sure that you get that in by January 31st. And everything else is on our website. Take it away, Cantor. Let's do some Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim. Everyone, kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kitashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim tovim.
Let's have a
Baruch
good.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. I almost said B'tei Avon. That means bon appetit, right? In Hebrew, I was about to dig in, but I'll wait. We have to bring the angels first. Right?
Yeah, let's bring the angels. And I want to just call out any particular angels out there. You know who you are, who is here maybe for the first time. I don't want to call you out and make you uncomfortable, but boy, are we happy you're here. We're happy you found your kihila, your community here, and I hope you felt welcome. But just in case you don't know anybody, if you'd like to say, hello, I'm here for the first time, Shabbat Shalom from so-and-so, go ahead and do that to the everyone in the chat box, because the angels who have been here before want to wish the new angels a Shabbat Shalom and make you feel welcome. So let's sing with the Cantor, and then we'll come off of our mute in a few minutes and we'll wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.